Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to Terratech with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to the first Terratech video where we are going to be abusing a glitch. Now, normally, I try to avoid these, not so much because I have any real problem with people using the bugs or glitches in the game. It's in alpha, or is it in beta? It's still in early access, and, well, there are a lot of things you can exploit and just mess around with. But I normally don't use them because it's just not something which is going to be around forever, and at some point it's going to change, and then I'll have to explain myself again. But this glitch, I really feel like will eventually be just a normal part of the game, and that is the hover glitch. Now, the hover glitch allows you to go into the air without activating flight mode. This means you can have normal helicopter controls rather than the weird aerial controls that don't allow you to use rotors or anything like that. And since I've brought this up so many times and people definitely want to see how this works, I figured why not just show everyone. Now, if I recall, this has to be facing the hover plate. Yep, there we go. Now, you may notice, I don't think we're ever going to stop, because the game can no longer figure out where the ground is for this tech. So all I've done is I've used a hover plate, which I think you can use a hover plate from any of the factions. Might be wrong there. You can do a bit of experimenting yourself, and then you aim it at a wheel, and then suddenly the game can't figure out where's up, where's down, where's the ground limit for this particular vehicle, and so there is no air stage. You just can't fly high enough. Now, the problem is, I think this hovering just forever when in build mode does always occur, no matter how heavy the craft is. So that is definitely something you have to be prepared for. So let's take away the wheel for now. We can always add it back later. There we are, and let's just showcase how it works. So let's go in here, let's grab some stabilizers just so I can actually fly in the air without any real issues. Then I would just like to add a flight block, just a very light one, so I don't go flying up into the air too fast. Or at all, apparently. Let's go a little bit stronger than that, so we can actually fly. There we are, okay. So, this is without using the glitch, and then we just add a block at the back here, and then a sideward rotor, so like that, for instance. Now, normally, when we go into the air, aerial mode activates, as you can see, and then everything binds to the same key. So this rotor at the top, this propeller, rather, is now the same key as the one underneath. However, if we use the glitch, it's a bit hard to tell which way's up when it's like this. Obviously not right. Let's try that again, shall we? There we are. Now, it can't tell where land is, so both of these are on separate keys, like normal. So if I want to turn, I can actually use this. So naturally, this can be used to actually make a helicopter, so that's what we're going to do today. I think I might just build it in the sandbox mode and then make it in the regular. Actually, no, I think it would be more fun still to build it in the campaign itself. That way, we know how many blocks we've got. Probably going to go heavily Hawkeye-themed, as I want to use the rotor fan for the back, and I want to use either the medium rotor or large rotor at the front. Large rotor. How on earth am I paid to speak? Let's get this started. Okay, I really want to use the Hawkeye cab because honestly, it just really fits the theme. So how are we going to do this? And most importantly, how large are we going to make this craft? Let's put down the payload terminal. There we are. Now, very soon, we are getting some new weapons. I think Venture is getting a weapon, and Hawkeye are getting a few weapons. So, hopefully, all the designs we're making at the moment, we can outfit to something a little bit more interesting very, very soon. But for the time being, yes, missiles are the obvious choice. I do want to use the autocannon, but honestly, when flying, even without the aerial controls, it's so difficult to get this to hit something. It's difficult to use, but we could maybe use one of the cannon turrets or something else. We'll see when we get there. No promises. I do want to avoid using missiles, but it just kind of happens sometimes. Also, hopefully my phone didn't just pick up on the microphone. Yeah, I'm professional. I remember to turn my phone off when I'm doing recordings and such things. Straight away, I'm not sure how I want to do the front of this vehicle. Whenever I'm building like this in Terratech, all I can think of is, now from the depths, I would use this type of block here and this type of block here, and it's way more obvious exactly what I'll be doing, but when it comes to Terratech, there is still a bit of a limitation when it comes to the amount of blocks you can actually place, and yes, my phone just went off again. I thought I turned it off, and apparently I didn't. I am not the smartest of humans. I think that can definitely be agreed at this point. At some point, someone thought I was, and they were a horribly, horribly deluded person. What am I doing? I know, I want this cab at the front because I think it looks cool. Let's completely block it in so you can't see where it is. That... smart. Just... so smart. I mean, you could go with 2. What I really want is just a larger cab, honestly. I think that's the thing which I'm looking for here. If the top went all the way down there, so it's not just a single layer, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Ah well, so I'll just keep it as it is. I kind of like that. I think we'll come back to that later. It looks a bit, well, a bit silly, honestly, but, you know, that's my style. Dumb. There'll be a moment when I'm not, and it'll be bizarre. So, if we went with the medium rotor, it's like that, large is... So it really depends on how large we want this. We could make this just an absolute brute by using that glitch and making it so we don't have a ground level and then being able to have normal controls. It means we can also use rotors for going forwards and backwards. We can use pretty much anything, which we normally can't use on a normal helicopter which isn't using the glitch. It's such a big difference, and it means our size isn't as limited as well in terms of just honestly a lot of the craft, which is really, really nice. Like I said though, I do normally try to avoid using glitches as much as possible, purely because they can always be fixed, and as soon as they're fixed, well, they're gone then, aren't they? But I do feel like this type of flight control, or at least the option to do so, will eventually be here, so I don't feel too bad doing this. Don't really want normal wings. That'll really mess up controls, I imagine. Probably just go with like the pylons and stuff and add pseudo wings just for holding the weapons. Still not sure how I want to do this front section. I have a feeling like I'm not going to end up using the cab at the front, which is a real shame, because I really do love how the Hawkeye cab looks, but I never quite know how to use it properly. Very soon, what we need to do is go ahead and sell a load of our spare blocks, because the last time we did that, we had over 500,000 block bucks, and we can easily make way more than that this time, because we just have loads more items we can easily scrap. And honestly, we're finally running out of money. First time in a very long time, it looks like we don't have as much money as we might actually need. But either way, let's just focus on the copter for now. I'm thinking it's going to be maybe 1/3 of this, and that will be the total size. We can have the rotors on the inside for actually moving back and forth, because I feel like they would look a bit weird on the outside. And we're going to go down the route of using bombs, because I feel like we've used missiles a little bit too much recently. I mean, to be fair, we have also used bombs a lot, but I feel like bombs are more fun, and they're still new and everything. They're still in the experimental tab, so why not? Boom. Now, here's something I normally don't have to consider because of the aerial controls, but how are we going to do this in terms of stability? Because what we could do is have it naturally tilt forwards, and then it will act a little bit like an actual copter, tilting forwards to go forwards using the rotor blades. But I feel like that will be a lot harder to control. If we go with complete balance, so it can just stay perfectly still in the air, that makes the bombs really, really scary, because we can just sit there in the air, firing down bombs over and over again, raining down hell from above. Or justice. Well, I was wrong. That little wheel was definitely working. It's just we didn't have enough hovers for the game to think we should be in the air, so our natural building level is still on the ground. Right now, the balance, though, is very, very off. The rotor blades are too high here, which is causing us to spin in a really weird way, kind of forcing us sideways rather than making us actually spin properly, and we are tilting a bit more than I would like, but, yep, it is essentially ground controls, which makes it far, far easier to understand, and this has some serious potential. I also think the whole craft should be a little bit longer, honestly. I think it looks a bit too stout. Is that just me? Am I going mad there? And it's try and land on these tiny little wheels that I just put there about 5 seconds ago, just so I have wheels. There we go. First flight, already killing things. I think this has a lot of potential. Still not happy with the looks, but in terms of controls, this is pretty much dead on. Hello. Goodbye. It can stop fairly quickly, it has an okay max speed, it turns incredibly quickly, if a little bit wobbly, and, well, it can do a ridiculous amount of damage. So, what do we need to do still? I still think the balance is a bit off. I think it should be a bit more front-heavy. A little bit of a lean to help with regular speed would not be a bad thing, although it would make staying in one spot a little bit more difficult. It's also a bit slow when it comes to just getting up to speed, but that's just because of these rotors we're using on the inside have a long time before they're moving at their correct speed. There we are. No need to go backwards, as he simply died from the first attack, and let's find another enemy. Hello? Anyone want to be a test subject? Oh, and I also need to add a radar, which I forget every single time. On the upside, landing's very easy, even with these really terrible wheels. So, where is the Venture radar? Because I think that one looks the best, honestly. There we are. Can that just fit there? No. It can fit there. I mean, it's silly, but I kind of like silly, so I'm okay with that. That can stay there. Let's get back up, because I just saw something that spawned in. Hello! And goodbye. I really can't wait until air combat is a little bit more expanded upon in Terratech, because it is definitely one of my favourite things. It's just, as soon as you're in the air, you basically win right now. There are no enemy flyers, the AI for flyers isn't really there, even if you have them as allies. It's just... okay, that's kind of awesome. It's just a matter of you dominate as soon as you can get into the air. Apparently I've left something here. Hello? Landing a bit sideways again. There's the problem with these rotors, like I say. They will knock me sideways along with turning me. I wonder if putting just one directly in the middle would change that rather than having them as they are. Probably would, but then it would also massively slow down my turning. I'll have a look at that in a second. Probably look a bit better as well, to be fair. Hooligans! Let's go do that mission. But first, let's do what I just said, so all of you can go bye-bye. Just add one rotor here in the center. And by the way, the orientation of the arrows don't actually matter because we're not using flight controls. This one facing left here, I can still go both ways absolutely fine. Now, this is probably going to lean way too far forwards. Yes, it is. Like, way too much. So I do need to add some more weight to the back then. But at least this does give us a chance to not go so far back in terms of weight that it does lean a little bit forwards, which I think would look pretty darn awesome. One less than that. Yep, forward speed is much better, even with this very, very slight pitching down. It's just, it feels way better. Now, the one thing I will say is, with only one rotor, the turning is a little bit slower than I would like. Come on, let's get over to the hooligans. But it is still lovely to have an actual rotor to turn us, rather than relying on hovers and stuff, which just don't work properly. Ooh, hello. They are some big enemies. Let's get some, distance from them, shall we? Yeah, hovering in spot right now isn't the easiest. Whoa, one of them is causing some serious lag. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back to having it completely stable, because that was impossible to stay still. The initial speed we had was what was stopping us from just stopping still, honestly. Like, now, I'm pressing full back, and We're getting close to it. It's like if you stop your rotors, you can stay still. Oh, but I really like leaning forwards, though. I think that looks so much better, and it feels better when you're moving around, but losing that ability to stay perfectly still, because every time I try and go up, I'm still going forwards, it's just a massive step back. Well, technically it's a massive step forward, but you get the idea. It's annoying. Rotors off, so I can stay still. I mean, you can still release a lot of bombs. It was still an absolute bloodbath, even though I got way too close to the enemy doing that rotor trick to try and stay still, but... yeah, also we're leaving behind a lot of blocks there. Probably should land and grab those. Ooh, lovely. Okay, let's see how this goes. Are you the invasion, or is that huge guy in the background? No, definitely the huge guy in the background. Okay, now we're leaning a little bit back, which is annoying. Leave this area! No! Oh yeah, but that is so much easier. Oh, we're not low enough to hit him. Well, at least a couple of the end ones did. Those are some strong shields, and I was incredibly inaccurate. Trying to get used to this is difficult, I'll be honest. There we go, that's how I should have done it. Almost staying completely still, and able to just unload over and over again. Lovely. Oh yeah, we didn't even pick up the reward for that last mission, did we? Herp-de-derp. Hello. Oh, a Christmas tree. A little bit late, admittedly, getting the Christmas presents now, but still, a present is a present, and I'm always happy to get them. Well, here's a good test as my copter falls over. Okay, no, before we do that, let's add some proper wheels because it's getting annoying now. So, where can I actually connect these? I think if I remove these two segments, which makes that whole section look a bit weird now, we could add those wheels here. In fact... we could lower this down a little using a regular block or a bracket. Like that. Then we could attach the wheels there. So at least now there's two wheels on the front, not just one, which I think is going to make a pretty big difference, honestly. So, no more tipping over? Thank you. Okay, so like I was saying, acquire a rival base is a great test because it means we have to kill the enemies without killing the enemy base. If we kill the enemy base, we don't get it. Now, with those extra wheels, are we going to start tilting forwards again? Not too bad, actually. You know, that's absolutely fine. Now, I'm also probably too high up to use the manual aiming. The manual aiming is quite specific, and it's not particularly... what is that? That's an enemy. Okay. Yeah, I can't even aim at them at this height, so I'm just going to have to be really careful with positioning and nothing else. That should definitely kill him, or at least hit him. There we are. He is just made of weapons. That's actually kind of scary. Oh, no, is that actually the base? I think that might be the base. Okay, in that case, there we are. Was hoping that would home in a little bit, but apparently not. Loving the new turn speed. Slowly does it. I'm being so cautious with my speed right now. And that's why. That is... why can't I manually aim? I'm trying. There we go, finally. That is so low, though. We're actually in range of their regular cannons if we go that low. Yeah, maybe we should have added shields to this. I was hoping I would never get in range of the enemy, but... just on missions like this. There we are, you're gone. We're doing fine. That should be okay this time. Nope, it gave up homing in there for some reason. Yeah, this isn't the fastest of kills. The drone would have definitely done better, but honestly, that's just because missiles would have done better here than bombs. Stop doing that. Oh, I wish I could home in right now. And by home in, I meant to say target. There we are. Let's get out of here. Keep on doing weird movements so they don't aim at us properly. Lovely, lovely, lovely. How many left? I think just that one little enemy. God, that was stupid of me to go lower. All I thought of is, if I go lower, there's no way I can hit the base, and I would rather take some damage than hit the base. Then I realised the base is covered in shields, and I'm not. So even if I do hit the base once, I'm very doubtful I will kill it. Now thankfully, if we ever do want to use missiles, it wouldn't be difficult to swap out. Yay, the base is mine, excellent. Then why is there still an enemy signature next to it? Guard mode! Why are you not aiming at him? Base? Kill him so I don't have to. Go on, you can do it. That's weird. Oh, was it already in guard mode and I swapped it? I could have sworn I just... Whatever, it's fine. Let's go and collect that reward. So much slower now, I'm not tilting. Maybe just need more rotors on the inside, honestly. It'd also help out because it means we go backwards faster so we can stabilize like this a lot quicker. I don't know. Either way, though, obviously it works. And controlling it is actually fairly easy. It's just not what I'm used to. Lovely resource blocks. Not the most expensive ones, but still, a resource block is a resource block, which is still worth a fortune. Where did I put my Hawkeye SC? Oh, yeah, it's back at the base, the SUU, because they're both on the turret itself. I kind of forgot about that. You can go there. You can be sacrificed to the Dark Gods. Goodbye. Whoosh. And so we have more money. And we have a functional copter, which I think is pretty much finished. There's not much else I'd like to do, but any suggestions you would like to give me on how to improve this, please feel free to tell me. I actually quite like how it looks now as well. I really didn't, and then, out of nowhere, I just started liking it. So with that, I'm afraid I am all out of time for today's video. If you have enjoyed, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Terratech is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Next time, hopefully, the new update will be out so we can mess around with the new weapons, which really, really seem to hint heavily towards building a much larger vehicle, since they are, I think one might even have been called the Battleship Cannon, or something similar to that. Essentially, though, they're pretty big weapons for Hawkeye and then some other things as well, like in Venture. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So, thank you for watching, and goodbye. Still think the drone is easier to use, though.